Hi everyone, welcome back to Meltdown Abroad. As you know, we're doing things a little different this summer. We're putting the questions in your hands by answering some of your parenting meltdown. Let's get into it.
Yeah, you want to hear the first question?
Yes.
We've got a mom of a 5-year-old, and she says, my 5-year-old is getting sent home from daycare almost every day for hitting, throwing things, and destroying the classroom. We've tried consequences, rewards, and taking away privileges, but nothing seems to work, and I'm completely exhausted. Okay. She's having a hard time.
She is.
And so is this little guy, yeah?
Aww.
Yeah, well, when you first read this, what do you think could be happening? I know there's definitely some questions in here that remain, but what do you think could be happening?
Something is dysregulating him. Yeah. That's what I'm seeing here. He's very overwhelmed or dysregulated or just unhappy in this environment for whatever reason. And so it's coming out behaviorally. Yeah. And so we need to try and figure out what is the trigger here.
Exactly. I mean, behavior is one way of communicating. And when we don't have other ways, this is what comes out. And so I see that too, right? That there's obviously a sort of a mismatch between the things that he needs and what this environment is looking like. There's obviously lots and lots of questions that we would have to find out more about the details of this situation, but he's certainly getting really dysregulated at school.
Yeah. And by dysregulated, it's not necessarily that the adults are doing something. It could just mean the environment's not a match for him. So maybe it's too noisy. Maybe he's overwhelmed by having to share toys with all these children. Yeah. Maybe he's overwhelmed by the transitions that are happening in school or just having to do academics. That can feel hard too. Yeah. But something in the environment is dysregulating him. And we need to kind of do some investigating to figure out what that is.
Yeah. And so on that sort of investigation, right, we would ask a number of questions. And there's lots that would come up here. One of the questions that I would have is whether or not any of these behaviors also happen at home. And if they do, in what context do they happen? Because you might already have some information about these types of behaviors based on that. If there was a daycare or a pre-K or a kita prior to this one, has this ever happened in any of those environments? And I don't mean once. I don't mean where there's one situation, but I just mean where you've actually recognized that there was a pattern of this going on in previous environments, because that's one important piece of information. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would definitely want to know from the teachers in what context this takes place, because kids don't wish to be doing any of these things. They really want to do well, and they do well when they can. And it sounds to me like there's this mismatch in the environment, and we need to find out, within the preschool environment, there's all these smaller environments, right? Like that's one small environment might be the yard outside, and another small environment might be where they have lunch, and another small environment might be circle time, right? So there's all these different mini environments, and it would be very important to know when this is happening. Is it when there's more free time? Is it when it's you have to sit for quite a long time in the circle, or during loud, boisterous times does this take place more? So what is really going on will help us to know which mismatch needs to be addressed, and also in this case, which skills need to grow. Yeah. Because the first thing that I think of here is that he's doesn't have a lot of self-regulation skills yet, and the ability to let someone know if he's frustrated about something, or to figure out how he can safely do that.
He doesn't have the communication yet.
Yeah. And when we have these instances where we feel like we've tried a lot of things, and we have consequences and we have rewards, and those things are really not working at all, that says to me that there are skills here that need to be built that haven't been built, and we can't provide rewards and consequences for skills that haven't been developed yet. And so that tends to be when it doesn't work very well, right?
Yeah. I would also ask, what interventions are the daycare staff using when these behaviors do occur? How are they tackling the situation? And is it just a matter of when this happens, if they're not able to calm him down in a specific amount of time, are they then just sending him home? Because if he's not enjoying the environment or something is a mismatch in that environment and the response is to send him home, he's likely learned that, well, if I do this, then I just get to go home where I want to be. Yeah. So that could also be a factor here. I would ask, what are we doing and what type of partnership can we have? How can we collaborate and work together to make sure that we're on the same page as you as the parent and the daycare team so that he's not just getting sent home? Because you said here, you've tried rewards and you've tried consequences. So I'm assuming the rewards are bribes before he gets to school. So that information, the expectation would be that the 5-year-old is holding on to this reward, this concept of I'm gonna get something when I get home when he gets to school. And chances are the moment they get to school, their brain is focused on whatever is happening here. He's not remembering that you told him if he's on his best behavior, he's gonna get a Lego later. That's not being reinforced, or it might not be reinforced because the school doesn't have that partnership. You guys haven't collaborated and determined that this is a strategy that we're going to use. And similarly with the consequences, if he's dysregulated for 30 minutes and then mom gets called and it takes 30 minutes for you to come and pick him up, then you go home and then you're dealing with this or giving this consequence, there's already been too much time that's passed. He's probably already calmed down, felt safe because mom is here. Now he's in a safe environment, and then he's getting punished. And the connection between why I'm being punished now and the behavior I had over an hour ago isn't really working.
Yeah, absolutely. Like really, a 5-year-old cannot see very far ahead, and so the rewards, consequences, any of those things would need to be really quite immediate. So that's for sure. That's very important. The other bit is that, when we can control what we're doing and we have the skills, rewards and consequences can help us to sort of see the cause and effect of our behaviors, right? And there can be some real utility to that. However, I'll give an example. Like if someone said, I will give you $1 million if you can speak fluently in Japanese by tomorrow, the rewards are relevant to me because I can't do it. I don't have the skill, right? So if we don't have a skill, even if I'm offering something actually really amazing, it won't be relevant in terms of being able for me to perform to do that. So that's one bit. And then the other piece is that sometimes the expectations, when we think about them, we think we know what good behavior means, right? But they might not actually. Like, what do we actually really need to do very clearly, and when and how, in order to be able to do that successfully? And so sometimes getting clearer on that too can really make a big difference. Yeah, what are the expectations, right?
So, what signs would you say would concern you, or what category would we put this in?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I look at things like hitting and throwing and destroying, that would fall in the red zone for me. And that says to me that we need some support. So I think it sounds like the school needs some support, and probably you and the child could really benefit from some support to help him build some skills for what he can do. Because once he builds those skills, then rewards and consequences and some of those things can actually help to shape and support that behavior. But we really have to build some of these skills first in regulation, right?
Yeah. And I would say also the hitting, the throwing, and the destroying things from a sensory perspective, that puts things a little bit in the red zone for me because it tells me that the body might be wanting something. Hitting, throwing, and destroying, those are very forceful actions. Yeah. And so to me, it's telling me that his body is probably responding through force because it feels good as well. And we can probably utilize that and find strategies that apply force to his body that can also feel good and is not so damaging or so dangerous.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. And what strategies do you think would help this mom and this child?
Yeah, I would go back to just that collaboration with the school, trying to figure out what is triggering him in the environment, but also, you talked about the consequences and the rewards, bringing those into the school so that they're available when these things are happening can be useful, right? Maybe we have a chart that he gets stickers, and if he gets a certain amount of stickers, when he goes home, you guys can continue that by he gets a sticker for making a good transition into home, and then the reward, but make it meaningful. So it can't be stickers all day and then I have to wait, and then suddenly there's a reward. I would still connect it. So he earns a sticker at home as well. He understands the continuity of this is working from school because I've had a really good day, and I'm at home, I'm having a really good day, and now I'm getting this reward.
Yeah. And even having some soothing items, it definitely sounds like, because he's so dysregulated at school, that just having some things that actually make him feel a bit safer may be really useful for him to have, both in the transition to school and something that he could keep there. So that might be something that would be helpful too. I think getting real details about when these things are happening, what teachers are noticing about what happens before, what are the consequences that are taking place at school, what's happening after this behavior that's immediate. So before they're sent home, what happens before then? So just looking at that relationship so that we can understand what the behavior has a purpose. So what purpose is it serving? Is it that they actually just get to go home and that's really what they want to do because they really don't like it? Maybe. And also there could be some other things that they're trying to get out of or feel uncomfortable with or don't know how to deal with, that this behavior is kind of getting them out of some of those things that they really are uncomfortable doing.
Yeah.
And
one of the things that I would want to know as well, I don't know if I mentioned this, but what is it? Is there more structure at school or is there more structure at home? Because if the environments don't match or are not similar, that can be hard for a child as well. So maybe he has a lot of structure at home, and when he goes to school, there's not as much structure, or vice versa. So I would want to know if there's flow throughout his day in that way, and if not, we can create it in each of the environments. So if the structure is not there at school, I would start working with the teachers to make sure there's like a visual schedule, which should probably be in place, but sometimes it just means he might need his own smaller version that's always directly in front of him, so he's not scanning the room to see it on the board. Or if there's not enough structure at home, then replicating ways of giving him like mini schedule. So a mini schedule for the routines where maybe he can check off my shoes is taken off or my backpack, just really small structural things that ushers him into dinner time and maybe some free playtime, and then the bedtime routines that can be helpful. Because maybe he prefers one over the other, but we need there to be continuity so it works in both environments.
Well, and you can also tell, so if the environments are very different, that also means the different skills are being built in those environments. So for instance, if we're going to school and I don't have a sibling, I might have never practiced really meaningfully sharing all of these toys or navigating winning and losing with peers or those kinds of things. And so those differences can also highlight skills that we might not have built yet. So that's a really important one. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. And of course, we are a community. So if you've ever had any similar struggles or challenges with your child, please feel free to share in the comments some of the strategies that you tried, some of the strategies that the school team tried, or maybe how you were able to work with the school, because I know that it can feel overwhelming as well. You can feel like maybe you're a bad parent or you have a bad child, and it can feel very isolating when you're the parent always being called to pick up their child. So let's share some of those stories. And of course, if you think that there are any families, friends or families that might benefit from this information, please share this episode link with them as well. But, if you have your own questions, please reach out to us. You can send us your questions at meltdownabroad@gmail.com, or if you follow us on socials, then you can also DM us.
Perfect.
Yeah. But until next time, we will see you again soon.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.